What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. The return of Paper Yu-Gi-Oh! Has been glorious with the regional season. I heard that a rapper down in Puerto Rico managed to take a GOAT tournament, and that has been blowing up. I saw that from Yu-Gi-Oh! Memes. Then also, you had event caps for like Indianapolis, over 500 players, Philadelphia regionals near 700, Lubbock, Texas, which is usually a sub 100 person tournament, hitting 200 plus duels with Fluffles in the top 8. It has been just a crazy, absurd weekend. But Philadelphia's first place Nesty sent me his deck list, and he was playing Crossout Designator, as were many others. Now, I miss the old John Moore, the Wild West John Moore. Let's get this out of the way. I am not a financial advisor. I don't know the future of what things hold, your opportunity cost, and what Konami might do. That out of the way, we're going to have a lot of speculations based off of how the regional season opened up. Crossout Designator and a ton of freaking lists, but this is no Dragoon. This is not a card you can sit on, be a bad player, win a locals with, end up having legendary stories. This is a one-for-one, take care of a problem, allow you to continue to combo or interrupt your opponent that you really need to be aware of. That also goes with your deck building, where you're playing hand traps that you need to situationally be very aware of your opponent's decks and how they work. I still think that it will be going up in price as it sees more tournament results like that, especially in the majors, but it's been doing work, and it's been sitting right around $30. It's about 32, which you see it does consistently go up over time. The bottom out really was 25 at one point, and the Mega Tins themselves are still extremely cheap. The ceiling I see for this card in the near future is around 40, maximum maybe 60. You're never getting that copium, oh, that $120 I spent will come back someday. But if you were on those pre-sales when I told you not to, look around at the Mega Tins. They are still on basically clearance mode, people taking losses to ship them out, and I feel like there's a lot of panic selling here. Product in the olden days, you know, the olden days just a couple years ago, it took about a year to appreciate. People want these really instantaneous gains, as if it's Rise of the Duels, as if it's Eternity Code, as if everything's going to just be the next Battles of Legend Armageddon saved by 10,000 Dragon. The Starlight market has been crashing if you've been paying attention on the lower ends. Tons of sub $100 Starlights. Money stopped being pumped into all of them. But when it comes to the 10s and how many cards missed, Access Code Talker, Forbidden Droplet. We also had Lightning Storm not in here versus the previous 10s where they pumped it full of everything. Oh, Pot of Extravagance and Toon Chaos, let's throw it in. Oh, Apolos is already slated for Gold Series. She gets in here too. They really put everything in the kitchen sink in the 2020 10s. In the 2021 10s, they robbed it of a lot of that. Still has a lot of really good cards, but Crossout Designator has to do the heavy lifting overall long term, and it also has to dodge ban lists, which are going to have people kind of shaky because it did not dodge the OCG list. That's because Maxi isn't necessarily evil. My thoughts are that Crossout Designator in the short term will begin to go up. But there is no guarantee on that. That's just my player brain saying that, and I would have my playsets of this sooner than later, especially at the $32 mark, if you did not get them at the $25 mark when I was pointing at them. The Dark Charmer also has been consistently going up. You see that initial bottom out when the set released, and it's about doubled to $2 consistently. This is in a ton of lists. It's obvious even without the waifu tax, this is one of the best Charmer links out there versus one of the best typings in the game, Dark. So I think that you should probably have this sooner than later, as it is the first set Battle of Chaos that will not be in the 2022 Megatins, but will instead be slated for 2023. This guy is going to get a lot of utility over time, maybe a reprint somewhere that happens here or there for a holo upgrade, but this is already super rare, so I would think about getting yours sooner than later. I can see this being $4 to $5. If you're one of the people complaining about kit going from $2 to $4, go ahead and spend the $2 now. Also, the Starlight has taken over the top slot of Battle of Chaos. That initial dip down and then going back up. It's not all dryness in the Starlight market, but saying that, you know, the top Starlight of a set is 270, still pretty weak, and shows like with a new set where Stardust could maintain 450 at its lowest. While we look over here, Dark Magicians has continued to fall and is just barely available under it as Dark begins to take the top slot. with its lowest being around $260 and quickly going up from there. Looking through Battle Chaos, extremely thirsty for value still. You have the utility with an Illusion of Chaos. You have Guardian Chimera, which we'll talk about later. And then almost everything besides the Thunder spell has continuously crept back down outside of those initial spikes that we had when the set released. Prank Kids is seeing a lot of play with, the good old adventure engine. That's what took first place at Philly. And looking through here, Prank Kids Battle Butler's highest rarity is extremely low on quantities, and Doo actually spiked back up for what it is, despite having the budget versions. And the budget versions, they actually don't have the most quantities in the world here, starting to be sub 100 for some of them. So if you're interested in just having this engine, I would think about it sooner than later, especially on the lower range. But if you like max rarity, those also seem to be disappearing, as this deck has been a solid option among Skill Drain, Flip Eldritch, and Based, having all the engines in one deck. I really don't like that term for the pile decks, but the pile decks are ever present right now. Dimension Shifter, a lot of people have been pointing to this to me. I don't know why. It's all of a sudden so many people saying, when do you think a reprint of this will happen? Let the Gold Sarktans have some value. They have enough, really. This is almost $10 at this point, and it very well could have an ultra rare in something like Ghost from the Past too. They said competitive, mainstay kind of things. Maybe that's one of them, or it's Mega Rise and they pat their shoulders on the back, or they redo the Dream, right? The Copium drop with access code Lightning Storm. They make themselves the hero of a set that didn't do enough lifting the previous year, because I don't think they'll be touching stuff that could be in the tens. I've also had more people than ever shaky. Should I sell my Alubers now? Is this the maximum hype? Well, I thought it would be around 80 to 90 right now, and it is way further than that, hitting 110, 112, 115. So I understand why people want to sell, and more people are lining up to sell it at 115, where it was like closer to 125 just recently. I would personally not think that it would end up in Ghost from the Past. First off, last year's Ghost had none of the Mega Tenable cards. Second off, this is in Dawn of Majesty, so you're bypassing not only Blazing Dumpster Fire, but Lightning Underdrive in order, going and reaching into a third set in the future. That would be unprecedented and hasn't really happened before this early for a reprint, where the Megatons are drowning in thirst for any kind of value. Think about the 2022 Megatons and how they're just looking around like, wait, what are we going to do for the import for the world premiere set, and how are we going to approach this? That's almost why I think Ghost from the Past 1 ended up targeting its kind of set release where it didn't have reprints ahead of time, and I don't think I would be panic selling this right now, fearing a reprint specifically, more so that this ended up overhyped, but it could be right around the amount of hype, because I thought it would be 120 when the structured decks themselves hit, and around 90 at this point. So it's like adjusting ahead of time of people panicking and going for something, but I wouldn't be too scared of that. But make your own decisions when it comes to that. I'm not always right, and I can't always see the future. Guardian Chimera has consistently been going up. We talked that this would be targeted almost no matter what, so probably better to get it sooner than later. It is near $40 now and goes along with that engine. It just consistently has been creeping up in price as people prepare. Sky Striker buyouts have been huge, and we're about to get into a lot of turbo and ultimate rare stuff. I haven't looked in that direction in a good month and a half, so I figured to go through, and I've missed a lot. So if that's not your thing, the Market Watch is about to head that way, with top-end Sky Striker suddenly getting bought out once again. I don't really get the timing, other than people might be thinking that Ghost from the Past could have the collection of cards between this, the Mayakashis, and the new update for the Witchcrafters being shoved in there. I personally think it will be the History Archive, since we're already getting, probably pieced out things of it throughout the sets, but I think History Archive would be mainly targeted here. When I say that, the Dark Magician art got released first. I think in the other core sets along the way, we'll probably see the Alter Art Red Eyes, Blue Eyes, and Dark Magician Girl in the next 3 core sets of the year, and that takes care of all of them having something special and ultra rare. But that's from the, history collection. So in my mind, that's what's going to happen, but it's still highly speculatory that it would be going that way. But yeah, here people thinking that might get dumped in there. for the Prismatic God box, those became structure decks, so we don't have a precedent where that could land, but you keep seeing money pumped in with the it's going to be soon and people will regret not having it already. Seems overinflated to me here as well. Pot of Duality spiked huge a while back for Flunder and respiked past the point that I possibly could have thought it would be at $300. Just crazy prices with actual sales in that range. I know somebody used to actually buy these. Anyone that would hit 120, they'd have them and have like a couple pages of them. I wonder if he's cashed out right by now, or if he's like, yeah, I'm taking this to the bank, baby. Let's keep going diamond hands. Past formats have been hugely impressive with Time Wizard format in spiking certain cards on the collector market while everything else falls out. But past format cards, they've been going crazy. Speaking of past format, Max C, oh my gosh, one sold for $700. That's that revolving ban list look. You still have like one under there, but man, past formats and so much speculation with this as we seem to be diverging closer to an OCG list after Master Duel. I have no clue when this one happened. Foolish Burial super rare. So this was in the first place list when I was looking around. I was like, oh, Hollow Foolish. I wonder what that goes for these days. Almost $300. I remember when $50 was a lot to shell out for this. We're just hitting mute territory when it comes to actual playable cards. And also, when Pack first really hyped plant format once again, this was like maybe $150, and I thought that was crazy. This is going for almost $400 lowest listing with a sale at $300 this month, and multiple sales within the month for near mint and light plays at that $300 mark for near mint. Just insanity when it comes to these cards, where this one sat forever of vendors offering $18 and it would sell for $28 on eBay. Man, we've come so far. I actually have a misprint one of these too, kind of neat. Thunder King Ryo is an interesting card, and I see a huge dip. It's probably like not a near mint, but it's around $200 and also is a plant format card. It's had up for like $120 forever, and I'm guessing along the way at some point really spiked, because we can see that year 120 where it was at, and then it's been here for a while. Trigodi is another card I was staring at, and when you get to these year marks, you can really just see at some point it gets bought out, stabilizes, continues to have actual sales through the range. $150. This is one of those ones Cali Effect can say I told you so, because I remember he went in on these at one point, just said, and it's a pretty darn cool ultimate rare in and of itself. Has specific formats, but Trigodi is a pretty cool one on how it looks. Snowman Eater also spiking up recently again. $50. This one must have been just a very recent buyout, because the market price is far under that. Colossal Fighter also over time. This one sat at $10 to $12 forever. Then it was sitting at $50 for a good chunk, and now it is almost $100 card. Quick Draw Synchron, you have Dandy Warrior and Edison and all the crazy formats for it. I did not know this was a $65 super rare. I thought it was like $40, and again, I just haven't looked at this anytime soon. It is so far up there. Solemn Strike, so many people thought this would fall out so bad because of the collector rare. Instead, the collector rare has fallen out really, really hard. A lot of people don't like how it looks, and it's worth noting that this is at $280 to $300, not really reeling from the release of the collector rare. Brilliant Fusion continues to spike even further after that announcement of Gem Knight support, searching continuous fusion spells, and it is now around $75 solid. Elemental Hero Stratos has done nothing but a nosedive since I last looked at it. It was sitting pretty, and it continues going on down. You have the Starlight rare competing with it now too, although do keep in mind OTS Pack 9 was shorted. It got replaced by OTS 5 at locals and never got back out there, so there's not the most ultimate Stratoses in the world, but it is competing with another version of itself. I know Ruggles commentates on like which one's better, and other people argue on which one's better, the Starlight or the Ulti all the way, but it is kind of funny that competitors can end up doing that to a card. Thunder Dragon Colossus has a super funny graph I just wanted to show you. Look at this. Up and down, up and down, up and down. I wonder what those, oh, it's banless speculations and changes. It's almost like you can make money off of this cycle, like just trying to pin the tail on the donkey of when it's going to come back. When it does, this will be a $200 card though. I diamond hands it. Well, there's other people playing this where they sell right before the list, buy back in later, and you can see directly how they're making money doing that right here on the market rather than diamond handsing. Pot of Desires is just on a downward spiral ever since that ban list. You can no longer Desires into Desires. It is now $60 for the ulti, but there are past formats. There's also the collector rare that competes with it, and people seem to like that collector rare a bit more than the Solemn Strike one. This is a little I told you so. Forever ago, this was under $2, and I was like, if this was named the Biru token, it would already be $10. It'll get bought out one day. It'll be worth a lot more. And here we see it bought out to the tune of $5 to $6 somewhat recently when a ton of tokens got targeted all at once, it feels like. Infinite Impermanence. I didn't know this nosedived down $100 freaking dollars. Hadn't looked in this direction in a bit. These were going for $280 to $300 very solidly. Not too long ago, it feels like, and it has just consistently gone down while I looked away, and it's still within the metagame a good degree, but tons of people choosing Ghost Ogre and cards like that instead. We also have OTS 18, and it's very mid in terms of prices early. Zeus, I've seen some angles that make it look better than I thought it initially did. I think Pac on a stream even said, yo, I sold my Starlight, I'm going ulti. So people are actually looking at this. And then you do have Ecclesia, but the deck's just kind of fallen off compared to what's going to be played. And then Fusion Destiny, people are so scared of what's actually going to happen there with its engine. But tons of good cards in the lower end of this that are kind of nice that I would be thinking about having personally as penny stonks. And finally, out of the ulti range, a little thing for everybody who stayed till this point, Magical Spring got bought out. This is one of those cards like Retort that always gets bought out on some kind of cycle, and I don't know what's done it this time, so let me know in the comment section below if you do. Is it real this time? Oh, it's going to be so hype, it's going to be in the tournaments everywhere. I don't know what causes these buyouts and why the same cards get targeted so many times. It's almost like an example of vendor hot potato, maybe. Somebody bought 3 at $12 a piece. I don't know what's going on, so let me know what's up with Magical Spring this time, because it happened a lot during Pindu formats. It did get teched, got a top here or there, but it never really panned out through an entire format, so let me know what's happening this time. Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation. I know it was a lot longer of a video than usual, but I had the energy and I had a lot of fun doing it.